with you made that. And today I have Jacquelyn Fox from Waxing Moon Designs with me. We're going to talk cross stitch patterns and all the things because she designs cross stitch patterns and I cross stitch. And so I'm so happy to have her here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. This will be fun.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start right off the bat. Waxing Moon Designs. Where'd you come up with that name?
Well, gosh, that was back in the 1997. So I've always been a big gardener. I've always been interested in, I used to read the Farmer's Almanac and all of that stuff about gardening. And at that time, I was kind of interested in, they talk about planting by the moon phases. And so apparently you're supposed to plant seeds that grow their fruits above ground. You're supposed to plant them during a waxing moon because it makes them grow better. So I had that stuck in my head and I thought, well, I'm going to start a business. So maybe if I call it Waxing Moon, that'll, it'll encourage it to grow. It'll grow and flourish. So, and it really has. So yeah, it worked.
Well, yeah, it worked. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't have a green thumb. I'm not planting it. I love that. Okay, so Waxing Moon Designs. Okay, so I emailed Jackie a few questions, and so she sent me some pictures based on those questions. So that's what we're going to go through, and I'm going to have more questions as we go on, I'm sure. So one of the questions I asked her was, what is your most popular design? And without further ado, here it is.
Yep, that is an old design of mine. It's been out since 2001, and it really has continued to sell. I mean, of course, it's slowed down in sales a little bit over the last 20 some years, but it really, I think I've sold more copies of that Welcome to the Nut House pattern than anything else I've done. And it's just funny because sometimes the things that I think are going to sell really well don't always sell as well as the things that I just kind of do on the spur of the moment. So you just really know, or just really don't know. But I did, I was hoping that this one would sell well because it is it's cute and it's kind of funny. So, and usually those kind of patterns do well for me. So yeah, that's been my best seller.
Nice. Yeah, I think you touched a nerve here because we can all relate. We all have a little nut house,
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, put that on the front door,
Yes.
Okay, so you mentioned you did this in 2001. So what major takeaway did you have after doing this one? Like, what did you learn that you implemented the next time?
Oh, gosh. Well, you learn from every single design. I mean, the stuff that sells well for me, I usually try to, as a designer, you want to sell patterns. So if something sells really well, I've learned over the years, hey, make a series out of it. Make, kind of use that same format and just, try different things with the same format. But this one was kind of a standalone piece, though. And I think that this actually was the first time that I used Weeks Dye Works, actually, threads. So I think that was like something new. And but no, I think that really before that I was trying different ideas for designs. I did some folk arty things. I did some gardening, more botanical themed things. And I hadn't really done very many kind of humorous ones. And so this was kind of the first humorous one. And the way it took off, that kind of told me that, well, that's probably a good avenue to kind of stick with is, keep those little things that are kind of humorous that people can relate to.
Oh, cool. I like that. Yeah, so for people who don't know, Weeks Dye Works is a variegated floss as
Right.
opposed to like DMC is mostly just one color. So for the squirrel's tail, his color variation there is
Mhm.
from the floss, the Weeks Dye.
Right. Right.
All right.
It just makes, I don't know, it gives some color variation, some visual texture that you can't get with the DMC. And well, you can, but you would have to, I would have to chart in the different shades.
Right.
Whereas this, it just does it naturally, and it's a lot easier to stitch with when you're not having to change colors on your, floss colors every 5 stitches.
True.
So, right. So the shading's kind of already done when you use the variegated floss. And no two finished pieces are going to look exactly the same when you do variegated, because the shading might be slightly different. And I like that because it just adds a little bit extra uniqueness to it.
True. I like
Yep.
that. Yeah, let the floss do the work for you.
Exactly.
Let me ask here too, how did you get started doing cross stitch design patterns?
I was in college, and this was like 1982, so a long time ago. But my college roommate was a cross stitcher, and she taught me how to do it. And right away, I started thinking to myself, I could do my own designs. This is easy, So I started experimenting with some graph paper, and I think the very first thing I charted was like a little border of cherries or something.
Oh,
And after that, I just, I kind of got hooked on. You know how cross stitch is very, it's kind of meditative and relaxing, and it's really easy to get addicted to it.
yes. Well, and I cross stitched, back in the day when everybody just framed everything when we
Right,
finished. And
right.
everybody just stitched one thing until it was done and then you moved on. And
Mhm,
so I got back into cross stitch about a year ago this summer from Nicole Spore's floss tube videos
mhm.
because she's a card maker and I'm a card maker. And then I thought, what is all this with cross stitch? And then it was like I gave in and boom, so
Yeah,
addicted and all the things. And now, you don't have to frame everything. Now everybody's making cute little ornaments and all this stuff. And
right, right.
so,
It
okay.
I really enjoy the finishing, the unique finishing that you see now. And you can see it on Instagram, and it's such neat ideas. And it really is, I mean, I don't want to downplay. I mean, some things, heirloom pieces should be framed,
Right.
and you want to spend a lot of money to, if it's going to be a family heirloom, you definitely want to spend the money to have it, professionally framed. But for a lot of these little pieces like what I design, I mean, I most of my stuff is, it's like decor based. It's like little fun things that you're going to have up for a seasonal decoration. And for something like that, I mean, I myself don't want to spend a lot of money to frame it. So it's really nice to have these other options that you can just do yourself at home, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
I hear that. Yes. I like making the little pillows.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of ornaments for mine, the little
Mhm.
series, they've all been ornaments. The house trio series that I've been doing, the local needlework shop, the Stitchery Nook here in Osage, I take them up to her and I just let her go finish them however she wants. And she does some really cute things with them.
Nice. Yes, I was at that Stitchery Nook in Osage a few months ago. So there's a video for that. My gasping at going all the things.
Yes.
So I love that shop.
It's a great shop, and I feel like very, very lucky. It's only like 2 blocks from my house, so anytime I need anything, it's just a quick buzz up there. I
Well,
love it.
and she said we have all of your things, so
Yes,
it's
they
like,
do.
oh,
Yep.
that's so nice. Okay, so you mentioned the little house trio, and there it
Yep.
is.
Yep, that has been a really good seller. That whole series has been very popular, and I really had a lot of fun designing that series. I've kind of gotten to the point where I'll be happy to do some more, but I've got to come up with some different ideas. I've kind of exhausted my creative juices when it comes to the houses here,
Right.
but it's been a lot of fun, and people seem to really like them.
I have a lot of friends who love all the little houses, so
Yeah,
yeah, they're
yeah.
very popular. All right, then we've got the miscellaneous trio sets.
Right. These are some things when, I was still doing the house trios, but I thought, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. It doesn't, I'll do some things other than houses. But the trio sets seem to sell really well. I think because they're not difficult to stitch. You're getting three patterns or three little designs in a single pattern. They're about, what is it, 3.5 by 4 in 3 by 4 in size, and so they're not very big. They stitch up really quick and easy, and they're so versatile. You can stitch them all together on a single piece of fabric, or you can do what I do and stitch them all separately and then turn them into little pillows or little whatever you want, little miniature ornament, or not ornaments, but little miniature wall hangings, all sorts of things. So
Yeah. Okay. So that brings me to a question. And I'll just leave these little snowmen up. So do you stitch your own pattern while you're tweaking the pattern, or when you're done, are you like tired of it and I don't even want to see that again? Like, how do you do that?
Most of the time I do hire stitchers. I have a lady here in Iowa who does some stitching for me, and I will send out a pattern to her if I'm really certain that I'm not going to want to do any color changes to it. Then I will go ahead and send it out to her. A lot of times I think I'm happy with the design, but once I start stitching on it, sometimes I'll decide, well, wait a minute, I'm not sure that now that I'm stitching with this color right next to the other color, I'm not sure that stands out enough, or I'm not, it kind of blends into the background too much. So I'll make changes. And that's why especially with these small ones, I do stitch them myself, most of them, just because that way, like you said, I can tweak as I go along.
Nice. What's the fabric that you like to stitch on most?
I usually stitch on 28 count linen or 30 count over 2 threads. And I know some people are intimidated by the linen. Yeah. And I used to stitch on Ada cloth too, but you can do more. It's easier to do like quarter stitches or half stitches on the linen than it is on Ada, but I just like the look of the linen for
Nice.
myself. And I've gotten to the point where now stitching on linen is, under two or over 2 threads is, it's just so I've done it so much, it's so automatic and easy that I don't even think about it anymore. I mean, it doesn't seem hard, but I know that it can be a little intimidating when you first start. So
Yeah, I've heard other people say, just try it and see. And
yeah, yeah.
I haven't yet.
There's
Yeah.
so many. There's just so many different varieties, and like custom fabrics, so many over dyed fabrics that are available in linen. I know Picture This Plus is a company that has some beautiful, um just wonderful over hand dyed fabrics that I've used. And most of the fabrics I do use Weeks Dye Works fabrics, and a lot of them I get from Witchell Imports. And they have such a huge variety of even weave fabrics.
Even back in the day, it was all just Ada. And then when I
Yeah.
started in again, it was like, Lugano, what's that? Linen, what's that?
Yeah.
Slugs and linen, what's that? I mean, it's like all
Yeah.
these new things.
Yeah.
So there is a lot to choose from. I like
Oh,
that.
yes.
Okay, so monthly trio series, also very
Right.
popular, you say.
Yes, yes. This has been a very popular series, and that again, it was just one of those things that I decided, you know what? I like this format. I love stitching these little designs because it goes so quick, and I don't use a lot of quarter stitches or half stitches. I mean, on a few of them to get the details. Sometimes I have to use some half stitches, but for the most part, they're all full stitches, so they're real easy for beginners, really accessible for most levels of stitchers. And I just think that for me, I cross stitch to in as well. Besides it being my my business, I want to enjoy it when I'm doing it. I don't. Some people really like challenging pieces. Where for me, I just prefer something that I can relax. I don't have to think too hard about it when I'm doing it. There's not too many color changes. There's not too many half stitches and things that will tend to really mess me up. But so I kind of went with the whole the trio theme, the three small patterns and in a set, and decided to do monthly things. And because I do like doing seasonal designs. That really seems to be kind of something that I always end up gravitating back to. So
Oh, good. I just want to highlight this groundhog. Look at
yeah,
him. He's adorable.
he's
And I
so
love
happy.
his expression is like, yay, spring.
He must not have seen his shadow.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that. And like you said, we just want to stitch for enjoyment. So if that means full coverage, big piece for you, then you do that. But for
right.
me, it's a fun. I like the littles, and
Yep,
not too many color changes because that can be kind of tedious. But
right.
I will say you do have fun patterns that are fun to stitch, and that's a
Thanks.
good thing.
I really do try to keep them that way because that's something that I've learned over the years, and it's just something that I enjoy myself as a stitcher. I like that feeling of accomplishing a project, and these small ones, they give you that nice feeling of accomplishment, pretty quickly. You don't have to spend months finishing them, and they make good in between projects for those people that do like the big projects. Sometimes it's nice to set the big project aside for a few days. And I mean, you can stitch one of these little patterns in, I mean, probably a week or less,
Mhm.
depending on how much time you spend at it. And it's just a nice break from the
Yep.
bigger stuff. Yep.
Good point. Good point. I'm tracking with you. Okay, so then you got the littles, and these
Yeah,
are a little smaller than the trios.
that's right. They're about three. Let me look at the thing. I think they're about 3.25 square, and these are more ornament size. So yeah, I thought these are they would lend themselves to the little mini pillows. I finished them as little ornaments, and but you could also stitch them all on the same piece of fabric too.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showcased the spring littles
Mhm.
because I want to show you my work in progress, my
Oh,
WIP.
okay.
Okay, so because it is spring here in Iowa, I started with the cloud. Let me turn this. I'm going to remove that. Okay, so I started with him.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this brings up some questions for you. I had to change some colors because I wanted to use this blue, and it's a brighter blue.
Right.
How do you feel when somebody says, well, I'm using your pattern, but I had to change some things?
Oh,
You
no,
like,
that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, because as a designer, I would do that. If I've found a pattern that I really liked, except, oh, I think I'd like to make part of it this color of blue because that's going to match with my decor better. Or I just like it better. I mean, I'm glad. I'm always happy to see the things that people kind of do with my patterns. And sometimes they really change them. I mean, sometimes that's not the same color scheme at all. And it's just fun. It is. It's fun
okay.
to see. It's fun to see it look different like that. So no, I don't, that doesn't bother me at all.
Because sometimes like I'll post it on Instagram and tag, the designer, and I think, do they feel bad because I changed it a lot? So I never knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what other designers feel about it, but I'm doesn't bother me at all. I'm fine with it. I have a lot of fun seeing what people do with the
Oh, okay.
patterns because the whole thing is, you know, you it's a creative. It's supposed to be creative, and if we all stitch the exact same pattern the exact same way, that's not as creative as just kind of doing your own thing with it. So,
Good
yeah.
point.
Yep.
Well, and sometimes it's like I don't have that floss, so I'm gonna do a
Right.
floss toss and just fill it in with something else, and that's why
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
change things. So
Yeah.
okay. Oh, good. All righty. So yeah. Okay. So now we're going to talk about what kinds of patterns are available. So you offer the paper version or the
Right.
leaflet version, and you also offer the PDF or the
Right.
e version. So
Right.
let's talk about those.
Yeah, the paper patterns are those are what you're going to find in the needle workshops. And it includes, I've got that one right here, a color cover, and then the 8.5 by 11 pattern. It's on both sides. And but you're only getting it in black and white, which is what I think most stitchers prefer the black and white charts.
Really?
I've asked shop owners for their input on that, if they think that color charts would be preferable. And the answers that I've gotten, I kind of thought maybe color charts would be preferable, but the answers from most of the needlework shop owners are, my customers like the black and white.
Wow.
So that's what I provide with my printed leaflets. About, gosh, 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, I can't remember when I started my Etsy shop, but when I started my Etsy shop, I started it because I wanted to have a place where I could preserve and offer a lot of the old patterns that I had. I mean, I have well over, probably close to 300 patterns in the last 20 some years since I've been doing this. And some of them just don't, I simply cannot keep them in my storage facility because I'm limited for storage space for printed patterns. And some of them just, I would maybe only sell, a half a dozen of them a year. Some of these really old ones. The shops just don't carry them anymore. Some of them might be, kind of outdated in style or whatever the reason. But I thought, I still once in a while get requests for those old patterns. And so I thought it would be a good idea to digitize those and put them in a place where they can just be kept in digital form, and they're available permanently, or for as long as I have the Etsy shop. And I'm so glad that I've done that now, because I do sell quite a few of those older patterns, even though the shops aren't carrying them anymore. people from other countries that have never seen them before are able to buy them, and so it's just a really nice alternative to the printed patterns. But my e-patterns, they basically are a PDF file that you download, and then some people prefer to keep them on it's an application called Pattern Keeper, I believe. I haven't used it, but I've had a lot of Etsy customers ask me if my patterns are compatible with Pattern Keeper. So I did look it up, and Pattern Keeper does, PDF files are compatible. So you get the PDF file, you can store it on your computer, you can store it on your tablet, whatever works. And then when you're ready to stitch it, you can print it off, and you get everything that's in the paper leaflet, but it's printed on regular computer paper, whatever paper you choose to use. But because it's a digital file, I'm able to include both the black and white version of the chart and the colored version. So you can print off whichever version you prefer. I actually love to stitch from the colored charts. I find that it's easier on my eyes. It's easier to keep track of where
Yep.
I'm at. So, but it's up. Some people aren't comfortable with the e-patterns either. Some people prefer the leaflets, and so I do both.
Nice. Yeah, we don't have a local needlework shop close by here, so I love the e-patterns because it's like buy it, print it, yay, I have it, And,
Right.
but I will say that if I buy a black and white when I'm visiting a needlework shop, I color it with colored pencils because I like the colors.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
like you said,
I do
it's
that
easy.
too. I do that too. I usually, if I have a black and white chart, I get my colored pencils out, and
Yay.
yeah, because sometimes the symbols, I know as a designer, I try to make the symbols stand out enough from each other. Like if two colors are close together, I try not to have the symbols be too, like maybe one is an arrow going this way and the other is an arrow going that way. Sometimes that, it's too similar, and that just drives that can be really hard to follow. So I do try to make sure that the symbols, there's enough contrast between the symbols that they're easy to read. But for me, the color charts are just so much easier. Yeah.
I agree. What do you use? Do you use a program to make your patterns?
Yes. It's Pattern Maker, I believe is the name. I've had it for so long. I don't
Oh,
even
wow.
think that it is. I don't even think that it's still in business anymore. That the company is still in business anymore. It seemed like they kind of dropped the service, and
Wow.
there's no technical support. But I've got it. This is the old school. You bought it on a disc.
Oh, right.
So I have it, and it's always just been a great little workhorse
Nice.
application.
Well,
So
that's
I'm not changing. I'm sticking with it until until it completely poops out, and then
it
I'll
ain't
have to
broke.
figure something different. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Very good. So yes, then we've got Summer Vibes, which
Yeah,
is your most
that's
recent.
yes. That's I just put that out earlier this month, and it's just something, it was a little different than the Little series or the House Trio series, but I don't do a whole lot of summer patterns, because other than patriotic stuff, because they're just, I don't know that there's not a lot of holidays in the summer to decorate for. So but every once in a while I decide, well, I better do it, better do another summer leaflet. And so I went ahead and did this Summer Vibes leaflet this year. And I tried to do, again, they're all real easy easy patterns to stitch. I stitched them. Actually, I did have a stitcher do the little flamingo one, the beach vibes one. But I stitched the other two, and they're both, I think the Welcome Summer took me a week maybe of afternoons to stitch, so not too long.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I lost my train of thought, but I love this. So what was I thinking?
It'll come.
It'll come back. Oh, I know. So these are available on your Etsy shop, and I will put a link
Yes.
down below to the
Yes.
Etsy shop where you can buy all these things. Also, you have a
Right.
blog.
Yes, waxingmoondesigns.com.
And Facebook and Instagram. So
Right. And these, like I said, if you have a local needlework shop, definitely support your local needlework shop because we want to keep them in business. But
yeah,
they carry all those fun things that we want for our patterns. They've got the fabrics and the floss and all those fun extras. And so yeah, we want to support them. So definitely check with your local shop. And if you don't have a local shop or they don't carry it, then check out my Etsy shop.
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, and if you need fabric or floss to go with it, I'll put a link to the shop in Osage too.
Yes, they do mail order, and their stock there is just incredible. They've done such a great job, just such variety. I love it. It's a great shop.
It's probably a good thing for my bank account that I don't have an LNS.
I know.
You
Yep.
can't walk in there with nothing, coming out with nothing. So, yeah. We also get the treat of seeing a new project that Jacque is working on. I'm so excited. So here's
Yes.
the newbie.
Yes, this is my new littles set, and it's patriotic gnomes. So I wanted to do something patriotic for the summer holiday, and I thought I've been seeing a lot. I go to craft shows once in a while, and I went to one before Christmas, and it's just like I was seeing all these little stuffed gnomes and gnome Christmas ornaments and all of that stuff, and I thought, wow, gnomes are really making a comeback. Compared to, I mean, I think the last time they were popular was probably back in the 70s or early 80s. And so I thought, I haven't done anything with gnomes. Maybe I should do a little set, a littles set of gnomes. And I'm on number 4 right now. These were the first 3, and I've just started number 4, and I've got 2 more to go. So those, I'm hoping to have this set out in April. So
Oh,
fingers crossed.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, very good. Okay, Christina, I'm going to do a shout out. My friend Christina, these are for you because she loves gnomes. So is this a glimpse into how you stitch? You have that scroll.
Yes,
Okay.
I use a scroll frame, and the reason that I use a scroll frame is just because it keeps the fabric so nice and crumple free. Sometimes when you do the rings and the other types of frames, the fabric kind of comes out with a lot of wrinkles, and you have to iron all that out. And I know with linen, sometimes it's really tough to get those creases and stuff out of linen. Man, sometimes it's in there and you can just iron and iron and iron, and you can't really use a steam iron for something like this because it would make the floss bleed probably. Well, not always, but I'm not going to take any chances. And so I tend to use these scroll frames for my projects. It's one less step. It's one less, or it makes ironing a little bit easier, and the finishing process when you have a nice wrinkle-free piece of fabric to work with.
Nice. All right. Well, we'll look forward to those gnomes in April. We'll keep an eye out. Will you launch it, on Facebook and Instagram when it's ready to be in your Etsy shop. Sorry.
Yep. I always probably about I ship out the leaflets to my automatic customers on the needlecraft or the needlework shops that are on my auto ship program. And I ship those, and then I get on Instagram and Facebook and my Waxing Moon site, and I do my announcement there, and then I upload everything onto my Etsy shop. So yeah, if you follow my waxingmoondesigns.com, my blog, you can sign up to follow it, and then you'll always get an email notification anytime I post something new. Or if you're on Instagram or Facebook, I have pages there too. So yeah.
Nice. Again, I'll put all those links so that we can follow Jacque and Waxing Moon Designs.
Yay.
So I'll make it easy for you that way. Well, great. I know I'm going to think of things after we go, but I would love to have you back some other time,
Sure.
like maybe in the fall, see what you're working on for winter and Christmas.
Yeah, sounds good. This is actually my first video interview, so it's been exciting for me. Yeah. Thank you
Yay!
for inviting me. It's
Great.
fun.
Yay! Oh, good, 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 good. Well, I so appreciate you coming on, and it was a delight to talk to you, and I love seeing all the things you're working on. So thank
Great.
you
Well,
so
thank you. It's been
much.
great meeting you, and
Yeah.
happy stitching, everybody.
Yeah, and if you have any questions for Jacque, or you're just starting with cross stitch, you don't know where to begin, I've got some tips for you there. But yeah, comment below. Tell us your favorite Waxing Moon designs pattern that you've made, and we'd love to hear about it. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, thanks again, Jacque, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Bye.